Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Daily Tips Show on Inspired Business TV channel with myself, Gary Setterfield, and my co-presenter, Sukhi Wahiwala.
Hi everybody, I hope you're all well and welcome again to episode 4.
Sukhi, last time we talked about focused video content online, and we've had so many questions following that I thought today we'd look a little bit more about the structure of the content and the episodes. But let me just explain to the audience who we are and also why we do this. We wanted to, during this period of COVID, just come up with some daily tips to help people restructure themselves and fall in line with the new parameters that we're all having to work to. So people have been sending us and asking us questions about how do we adapt. So we thought we'd talk about focused content because we're all talking online now rather than face to face. So it's open solutions to current situations with myself, Gary Setterfield, award-winning business entrepreneur, global Synergist Method Master Trainer and DFT coach, and also with my good friend and business partner, Sukhi Wahiwala, again, award-winning business entrepreneur, sought after international business speaker and mentor, and global thought leader and Forbes judge. So as I said, Sukhi, we've had lots of questions following episode 3 where we looked at video content online. What I want to do today is a lot of the questions have come in about episodes and how do we structure an episode, for example, timings, how do we get it also unedited so we can do it as one take. You'd never know that ours are just one takes because they are so flawless. There are never any episodes. My teeth never work, but you'd never know all this. So Sukhi, let's just go talk about content, can you, and structuring it.
Yes, sure. Thank you very much, Gary. Absolutely. We're too professional, aren't we? No, we're not.
We are.
So the reality of life is that first couple of things, obviously, don't forget in essence that all the pre-planning of an episode or a structure should be done kind of like in advance. So I'm going to give you a quick synopsis. These shows are designed for bite-sized information and watch to the end, please. Do comment, do let us know what you'd like to learn about next. It's the Inspired Tribe process. I'm engaging as many people as possible, both Gary and myself. So all of the current challenges that people are getting, we're working on it together to give you answers. And these shows are designed to be live. They're not made to be a pre-recorded, pre-functioned environment. This is basically a one-take solution. So even now, when we're going through this process, it's a single take. So just to give you an update, if we were to imagine a broadcast of some kind, let's say this particular show, the Daily Tips Show. This is obviously for all the people who follow us as well. In episode 3, we spoke about keeping an eye on content, keeping an eye on the camera, making sure you're in the frame correctly. We've got all that in the space. If you are talking about a series of video programs and shows, always ensure that you've got the 3-phase structure, which I've got in place. It's called the power phasing structure, which is the top section, which we would call the overarching, if you can imagine a diagram. Again, because this is a live program, I'm not doing the diagram to show for you, but basically the overarch, if this is an arch, would be the meta model. In the middle would be the macro data, and underneath would be the micro data. So your top section, the meta level, would be what is the purpose of the whole series, the program, the planning of the show. So just to give you a quick synopsis on this actual meta plan, this is a daily tips show. This is as it's written in our methodology, in our writing, our documentation. It's written as being a program show that's off the hip. It's not pre-planned heavily. It's about singular topics that our community, people who follow our channel, the inspiredbusiness.tv, and also Sukhi Wahiwala official YouTube side channel, and the inspiredbusiness.club online as well. These people, the questions they bring into us through our mentoring and coaching information, what we've decided is to make this free for everybody to understand during this time frame, because we've got lots of content to absorb at home. So there's a synopsis of information, but daily tips that are bite-sized information. It's not too much of a deep dive, but information that can get taken. That's our meta plan. Next is what we classify as the macro plan. In here, we would talk about each episode. So we might turn around and before we start the program, maybe we've actually written 12 topics that we want to talk about. This particular topic is actually, would you believe, additioned twice because of the amount of people who requested more information on how to deliver content on Zoom. By no means is this the perfect delivery. It's not the point. The point is it going to be helpful to your audience? That's why we're doing it this way. So the macro plan is each topic over a period of, let's say, 12 sessions. I always advise to plan out at least 12 episodes or 12 programs of your particular show. The show being the meta plan, which is basically the daily tips show. The middle episodes, so episode 1 on our end was life in isolation. Episode 2 was planning your day in isolation. Episode 3 was how to deliver Zoom content or content online. And episode 4 has actually been pulled forward. We've actually split the sections with so much live information required on the topic of delivering information. So we're talking about episode 4, we've added it in there. So we've now got a 13 plan program, which is the macro stage. Then what you do is you go into the micro stage under each one of those episodes and you write down 5 or 6, that's all you need, 5 or 6 key points to be made. So that's kind of the overarch planning of a very quick brief introduction of how you create what we call a program plan or a hypothesis behind the whole process. I can answer a few questions now, Gary, and then I'll go through how further to segment the information.
Brilliant. Well, one of the first things that people have asked is, how do you know when to start? We have a method where, well, I'll let you explain it, but basically we have a timing. So if you just want to explain that, because people never know where to start or stop, and they can either cut off the content or they can let it run like we do.
Lovely. Okay, so what a great question. The question is, how would you kind of structure, loosely by the way, how would you structure an episode? So the first thing you've got to have here is you've got to have what we classify as, well, I'm not going to go into the depths. This is a live program, so we don't have what we classify as A roll, B roll, C roll, etc. A roll is when we're in full content and communication directly with the audience directly. B roll is when we're talking, when we're maybe showing a pan over some other item. So for example, it might be a recording of another camera showing the back of a phone or something like that, if we're talking about phone, etc. Or maybe a visual straight down onto the desktop as we're drawing could be classified as what we call B roll. Something in the background, and C roll is maybe a meta country image, etc. So we're not going to go into that framework just yet. We're going to talk about the episode itself, because I am focusing for this episode about live video delivery. So live video delivery still needs a framework, even though it's flexible like we are in these meets. So to start off your program itself, you should always ensure that you've got what we classify is a mental process of how you're going to start a program and how you're going to end the program. So an introduction, which needs to be no more than 2 lines or 1 line, something like what Gary did earlier on. Hi, welcome to today's daily tips show. And then he'll go on and say, this is episode 3. This is the next section. So a quick introduction of the show. Then it's could be something like, welcome to, the daily tips show. It could be, hello, hi, we're back on the daily tips show. Okay, that small, quick anchor introduction. But then the second point, before we disengage with everybody else, you've got to let them know what this episode's about. So this is episode 3. Just to give you an example, Gary, this is an episode 3. We will be covering Zoom content and framework around how to deliver an episode or a program or a series. Now that's very clear and concise to give you an engagement from the audience. People who are going to watch this, they'll need to know why they want to watch your content. So this is what you're going to share with them. Then you go straight into who you are, because some people may be watching for the very first time. So you'll say something like, so if this is your first time in engaging with the Daily Tips show, just to introduce myself, my name is Sukhi Wahiwala, and then give a small synopsis of myself and my co-host, Gary Setterfield, and a co-host synopsis there. There's section 1, introduction. Section 2, immediately it's, what is this episode about? Very succinct king points. What really engages individuals is to say something along the lines of, there's 5 key points and that kind of thing, where you're telling them exactly, giving the conscious brain an opportunity to hook onto something. 5 key points in this video series that we're going to be delivering in episode 3 or episode 4, as this is.
Okay.
Then introduction of who we are, and then we go into the content. Sorry, I'm just over talking you there.
That's right.
You see, this is the power of live, that we then go into the content of what the content is delivered, and we keep to a pre-written regime, bullet by bullet, as you can see, bullet by bullet structure of what we're talking about. And then what we end up with is a very simple synopsis, by the way. This is live. You end up with an outro, which is I hope today was really helpful to you, and you give them things. So then we've got in this particular daily tips series show is at the end we always give you the power tips synopsis. So at the end it's like the conclusion, the details of the power tips, which Gary works on whilst I'm doing a lot of the talking. At the end of it, we give a step-by-step announcement of these are the 5 steps in case people missed it, you see. So you're going to go through and you synopsize the 10 steps or the 5 steps or the 7 steps, whatever you stated. And then you say, please, and you always what we call as an engagement. So then you always invite people to engage below on YouTube. You always deliver as though it's YouTube or Facebook Live. Always have a comment down. So you know how to design backwards, talk to people about that and say, please comment and let us know what you want us to talk about next. And then you always give the final content of, so we'll see you in the next show, and you give them the synopsis of how to engage with this channel and us as individuals. So it might be your YouTube channel, Facebook channel, and also your Instagram channel and Twitter. So they're the 4 key areas, even LinkedIn if it's business, right? Let's hope that helps.
Yeah, very much so. Now, one thing that has come up, Sukhi, people have asked about is, how do you stay focused? I mean, one of the things we talk about is hydration. I mean, what else can people do to maintain their focus?
This is a really brilliant question. Focus on anything, really. This is what, if you want to watch, I'll leave a link below with with my DFT talk that I did on TED some 2 or 3 years ago now. It's over 300,000 views. Hopefully there'll be more soon. It was basically me sharing my story, but I've also given a 7-step focus of how to bring yourself into mindset. I won't talk about it today because that's the DFT method. We've got that in a later episode, you see. You stick to the program, you stick to the agenda. But for keeping yourself focused in the actual program itself while you're delivering, a live delivery, always try to stay on point with what your target is. You know, we're talking about the episode structure here. So everything we're talking about has to be on point with that. Always ensure you've got water by you. Always ensure that you have a closed space, that you've, because these days we're working from home. So you always need to allow all your other family members, if you're living with other people, let them know that there's a timed 90-minute or 60 minutes or half an hour, and would you believe, create a little sign and pop it outside on the wall, on the door, so that everybody knows that during this time frame, we're going to be basically live. So there's less surrounding noises. Also, if you're working from home, as we all are currently, is that ensure that your bandwidth is good, so that you're basically the bandwidth is your internet speed. So ask everybody to remove all of their items or their devices, like mobile phones, off the actual Wi-Fi, so that the Mac that you're using or the PC that you're using has this best chance of delivery. Does that make sense? And always remember, these are with everybody's cohesion, not demand from people. It's like you being in an office, right? So you're going to say, I'm on a phone call, do you mind just 2 seconds, a little bit of silence, and then when you're finished, go back and thank everybody and engage them and say thank you very much for making it possible, that kind of thing.
Perfect. Now we're coming to the end of our session, this wonderful episode. So can you give me one final tip with regard to perhaps background?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you look at Gary's frame, now mine, I am actually in my living room, and if you looked, my eyes moved off the screen, and you'll notice in episode 3 we talk about keeping people's contact and microphones and cameras correctly. So if you want to hear more about that, please rewind and look at watch episode 3 on the Sukhi Wahiwala official channel, which Gary will give at the end. So backgrounds, we can see this is basically, we wanted this to be a really sociable low level, because this is for our community, people who follow our channel and people who are engaged and interested in what Gary and myself, Sukhi, have got to say in the business arena and the mindset arena, and also the social business, social life as well. So with myself, this is in one of my drawing rooms. So we're in a lounge and we've got a lovely background, and it's just a very simple background. I've not thought about it too much. But if you look at Gary, if you just say something.
Hi there, everybody.
You'll see, I'm going to come back to my screen now. You'll see that Gary's got a couple of backgrounds and pop-ups because he's the main, in essence, the host. I'm a bit of the delivery partner, but he's the main host. So in the background, he has a banner, a pull-up banner, a stop-up banner. You don't need to be too expensive. If you've got these little pull-up banners, you need to put them behind yourself, or you select images and pictures. But if this is about business, always have something to do with business in there. If it's about social, just be topically connected to your series. Remember the meta plan that should be connected to that. This is a daily bite-sized tip program, so that's what the background should be like. And always be aware that even whilst I'm talking to you, I'm looking at the camera lens itself, but I'm very aware of my screen so I can see what's happening around me, just in case something falls or something's odd, because it will distract the listener.
Brilliant. Perfect, Sukhi. Thank you so much for sharing that information. So everybody, I hope you've enjoyed today's daily tips. We've covered things like bite-sized channels, bite-sized chunks. We've talked about meta, micro, and macro. We've talked about the structure of the episodes, the A, B, and C roles, if there are. We try and keep just to the A, which is just live, without anything additionals. We've talked about introductions. We've talked about the episode titles, introing yourself and your co-hosts, the actual content, and then the outro. And then we talked very briefly about focus, hydration. We're going to look at DFT in a later episode. And then finally, we looked at the background and removing excess situations. So those are the power tips from today. Please do follow us on Sukhi Wahiwala's official social media channels, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please do share this episode with your friends and your family, and we'll see you in the next episode, episode 5. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Take care.